Hi there, it's Jen from Jen's Homeodoology, and today we have the Nana Banana Wallet from Made by Elle. Now this is a very beginner friendly wallet that has raw edges, and it is a very quick make. Especially after you've made a few of them, you can start busting them out really quickly. It also requires minimal hardware as it just uses a zipper and a pull. If you would like, I've definitely seen people use little key ring clip hardwares on the side of those, and those are a really cute little addition, and they use those little scrunchy wristlets with them, which makes these super cute. And then this pattern is also great for scrap busting, as the card slots of 1 and 2 on the front and the back can be made out of those smaller pieces. Even your main part of the body can be made out of a decently small size of fabric. Now this is a unlined wallet, and then you can edge coat it around if you would like, or you can leave them as raw edges, and I've done raw edges on all of mine. And then in this tutorial today, we will be making this Nana Banana wallet, featuring a cute little print from J&R Edwards. Now this pattern, if you join the Made by Elle Facebook group, which I can link that below for you, you can get the PDF version for free with a code in the Facebook group. I'm going to go ahead and go over that process and walk you through the Facebook group to join, where to find the code, how to get to the website, and how to kind of check out, and then how to access your files. Now, if you know how to do that, or if you already grabbed your copy of the Nana Banana wallet, then you can go ahead and use the bookmark parts below and skip over to the next section. So now let me go ahead and walk those of you through how to access the code in order to get your PDF version of the Nana Banana wallet for free. Now before we get started, I'm going to show you how to get your file of the Nana Banana mini wallet for free. You want to go to Facebook and you want to go join the Made by Elle Facebook group. Now, once you are a part of her group, now what it looks like, you want to go up to the top for your featured section, and you're going to give that a click. And it's going to load all of the featured posts. You want to scroll until you find the one that is for the Nana Banana mini wallet, and this would be the post that you are looking for, and it has an easy click to her site, and it also has the code word that you will need at checkout in order to get the copy of just the PDF version. This code will only get you the PDF version of the Nana Banana wallet for free for being a group member of Made by Elle. And you would use the code that's in this post, which I have covered up. So make sure that you do join her group, and then you'll go over and you will go into her website. And this will be the file that you can get for free. It's the Nana Banana mini wallet, the PDF version only. You will click on that, and then you can add that to cart. You want to agree, and then hit checkout, and then it will have you go to log in. You do need to have an account in order to purchase patterns, so that way you can access your files later. So you would go ahead and sign in, and then during the checkout process there will be a box that you can enter in that code word, and then you would enter in that code word from the site, the one that's covered up right here, and you would enter that into there, and that will allow you to get that PDF version file for free. And then you can access your content either by the email that's sent or through your account info. So this is roughly what your account will look like. And then you can hit the access my digital content after you've purchased your patterns. And then you can see all the ones that you have. And then if you're accessing this one, you click on the PDF file and then click again. And then it will allow you to download. And now that you've gotten your pattern and printed it out, let's go ahead and walk through the pattern pieces and supplies needed in order to make our Nana Banana mini wallet. Now let's go over our pattern pieces and supplies that we'll need in order to make the Nana Banana mini wallet. Now it is recommended to make this pattern out of vinyl as it does have raw edges. And you'll need a piece of A and then 2 pieces of B, which are your pieces that have that little slant to them. And then 2 pieces of C, which this piece right here is really great for fussy cutting. It will be your bottom card slot. And then a piece of zipper. Now you have an option of doing a number 5 zipper with pull or a number 3 zipper with pull. Either will work out great. The only big difference is that you'll see more of the zipper teeth with the number 5 than you will with the number 3, to where you'll see more of the zipper tape. Number 3 can also be a little bit more easier with bulk around the top part, but both work out well. I've mainly made mine with the number 5. That's how that finished one ended up looking. And before we move on to our sewing machine, I'm going to start off with some prep. The first part in the instructions after cutting out your pieces and your zipper box has you taking your pieces of B and C and turning them over to the wrong side. And then taking double-sided tape, which is very helpful in this pattern. You can glue around, but then you have to wait for the glue to dry. So I just personally like using double-sided tape. And then I just use, this is 1/8 of an inch. And you'll go ahead and you'll place that on the top edge of your pieces. We'll do that on all 4 of them. I personally like placing my double-sided tape up at that top edge so that when I fold down, it's a strong hold and it has more of a chance of being out of the way of your seam allowance. Now you'll remove that double-sided tape and you'll just fold down to where you have a straight line across. So it will look exactly like that. And then this piece looks like that. And then you'll repeat with your other pieces. Now, if you have a hard time folding a line, you can always draw a line across with your ruler. And then you'll have a line to fold down onto versus kind of folding, I don't want to say blindly, but kind of folding blindly. There's also a measurement in step 3 that you can measure down. There's that one. So now those would be your 4 pieces and your ending of step 3 before you would need to top stitch. Now, I don't like going back and forth between my prep area and my sewing machine, and with this pattern, it really helps, at least for me, to be able to just prep all my places that need double-sided tape. So I'm gonna hold these, push these off to the side for a moment. And then on the back of my piece A, along the 2 long edges, I'm gonna place my double-sided tape for my zipper tape. And then that would be my prep for step 5. I'm gonna place this one off to the side for a moment and then pull these back out and then do my prep on these for step 9. So again, on the wrong side, I'm now gonna put double-sided tape on my pieces of B on the short side and along the bottom edge. And again, on the other short side. You can top stitch these first if it's easier, especially if your double-sided tape doesn't want to hold down your fabric. And then on your pieces of C, I'm going to do it on the long edges and along the bottom. Okay, so there's what those pieces would look like. When these are done, I'm going to set these off to the side, and then one last bit of double-sided tape prep, which is in step 13. You'll take your wrong side of piece A, and just on one of these sides, place double-sided tape down the 2 sides and the bottom. And now that is prepped. So this is what the wrong sides look like of my prep. And now I can go ahead and take these over to my sewing machine. If you by chance didn't do all the prep that I did and only did the prep up to step 3 of these, that is fine. I will remind during the sewing process that you would need to place double-sided tape, and I'll show where on them. Let's go ahead and switch over to our sewing machine and get started. Now that we're over to our sewing machine, we're going to start off with step 3, and that will be top stitching across these card slot panels. That use double-sided tape to tape down that little flap. Now you can either leave long tails so you can pull your threads back and tie back, or you can back stitch at the beginning and the end. It's completely up to you. Now I will say I do like to try to get within that 1/8 seam allowance from the side, as that will help connect the stitches from your side stitch. If you don't, it's completely okay. I'm just top stitching with a 1/8. That would be one, and then I'm gonna pull these back through. And then you can tie them off. Now at the end of your ties, you can either, if you would like, use some fabric glue just to help to prevent them from unraveling, especially if you aren't a tight, strong knotter. Or you can slightly singe those so that your nylon thread ends up sealing together. So that will be how one looks, and then you'll repeat that with your other 3 pieces. So that's what your finished pieces will look like for your card slots. Now we can set these aside as we work on our zipper installation. So you'll need your piece of A along with your zipper tape and your pull. Take your zipper tape, singe the edges, and you can slide on your pull. Now I always take the tooth that's the lowest and put that into my zipper tape first, or my zipper pull first, as that will be your first tooth that you want to come up on that side. Now you can flip over to your wrong side of A. If you haven't done so already, place double-sided tape on both of the long sides of your zipper box opening. Now you can also use glue to hold it in place if you would like. You have to wait for it to dry, which is why I like using double-sided tape. Now you'll position your zipper tape into your box. You just want to make sure that it's pretty centered. Now you can go around and sew around your zipper box with a 1/8 seam allowance. Again, leave those longer tails so you can pull through. And then I would suggest to start at the back side of your zipper pull. So like if I'm opening this way, this is where I'm going to start my stitches so that I can hide my pull back knotted threads back in this corner, and they wouldn't be as visible as they would be on that side. Doesn't make too much of a difference, but it's just a personal preference. Again, those long tails, and I'm going to sew with a 1/8 seam allowance. And when we get to the corners, I'm going to hand crank down and then start back up before I lift my pressure foot up to turn. And then place your pressure foot back down before you start sewing again. Now, this is where you start getting into your zipper teeth. Now, you can kind of end up skipping stitches in this area depending on your pressure foot. So, with a zipper tape, it's not too bulky enough to need a hump jumper, in my opinion. So I do like to save pieces of scrap vinyl. This was the side salvage of these pieces, just so I can take this and stick it under. And then that will help get over those zipper teeth without a skipped stitch. I do also usually end up hand cranking over those. And once I get down to where I'm going to pivot again, I'm going to start my needle back up on that incline before I lift up my pressure foot. That will ensure that it caught that stitch in the corner. I'm going to put my needle down and lift up so I can scooch my pull out of the way. Okay, to the corner, back up on the incline, lift press your foot to turn. Okay, I'm going to use that little scrap to help get over the zipper teeth. This is my last pivot. So again, back up on the incline of the needle. Press your foot to pivot. Press your foot back down. And now I'm going to hand crank to get into that same starting point. Right one out. So I stopped in that same spot. So now I can just pull both of those threads to the other side. And knot off. This one I'm definitely gonna singe. You can also place that little bit of fabric glue over top of it, just to seal those all together. And that's what that will look like. And now you are ready to trim off some excess of your zipper tape. This will make the final assembly easier if you can get a good amount of this zipper tape out of the seam. So you want to clip as close as you can to your stitches, but still leave a good amount. And you're not getting the exterior fabric, just your zipper tape. And then because I cut into my zipper tape, I'm going to singe again. Just keep your fabric out of the way. Repeat on my other side for it. So now that helped reduce that bulk within this two corners. Now place this off to the side real quick. And then this is where, if you didn't do the prep of placing your double-sided tape on earlier like I did, you would take your card slots, and on your pieces of C, you want to place it on the side and the bottom, and then your places of B, you want to put it on these two little short sides and then the long bottom. And place your pieces of C off to the side, as you'll need your two pieces of B and your piece of A with your zipper. Now you can do this one side at a time and do the steps and then go back and repeat. I personally like doing them together. We're first going to take along your bottom edge and measure up the measurement that's in step 10. And then that measurement is a 3/8. Now, because I'm going to do both sides at the same time, I'm going to flip this over and do that measurement again from the bottom. And then what you mark with isn't too big of a deal because it won't need to be removed, as it will be concealed. Now, I'm going to take one of my pieces of B, remove those double-sided tape backings, and line up the bottom edge, so the non-top stitched edge along that marking that we made. You'll line up those sides and press down. Now, the reason why you did not want to do double-sided tape along here is because you don't want to stop your card from going into that card slot. So as if you had a card, it would go in and it would stick in these areas. But having that little slant there helps reduce your bulk along these seams. That'll be that. I'm also going to place it on this side before I sew them on. And one of the things that you can do is fold in half and meet along the sides to make sure that you're lining it up in the same spot. Just in case you by chance did your measurement from the bottom wrong, as I have done that. So now I'm just gonna do stitches along this edge. You're gonna do a 1/8 seam allowance, and you'll back tack at the start and the finish. So that's how that will look. It's just along the bottom. You're not stitching those sides yet, as you'll get the sides in your final assembly. And repeat on my other side. So now there's that one. And now you'll take your pieces of C and remove, again, that double-sided tape backing. Now you'll line that up along your bottom edge. Both of them now. I'll place this on the side. That will be there. Now if you did one side at a time, you would go and do the side before continuing one, unless you wanted the back side or one of the sides to be plain and didn't have any card slots. So once you have one that's like this, once you've stuck those on, you now will switch to the back side of your main panel A. If you haven't already put double-sided tape along your sides and your bottom, you can do so now. Remove that backing. And now you'll meet all your layers together. Now I'm gonna do our final top stitching, and you're gonna back tack at the start and the finish of your make. So you're gonna make your way around from your one side all the way down along the bottom and then back up. Now this is where a hump jumper really comes in handy, as these sides can be relatively thick, especially depending on your materials. And then again, when you're going along your card slots, you're gonna start increasing your width of your fabrics, so it can be a little bit uneven. This is where those scraps of vinyl can come in handy, because then you can just, like I folded this one, just to make the height difference of the card slots even with my pressure foot. And I'm not having to worry about sticking this bulky hump jumper in there. I'm gonna pivot, but with this being so many thick layers, my hump jumper will help. You don't have to do the diagonal little stitch along this way, but I do like doing that one. Now going down your card slots won't be as difficult, and you shouldn't get skip stitches, just something to be conscientious about. And there would be your finished Nana Banana wallet. Now, if you would like, or if you need to, because sometimes your layers can get uneven, you can go around and trim your sides so that they're all even. You can also do edge painting around your wallet if you like. This is the finished one. They don't look very horrible without the edge painting. So here's our finished Nana Banana wallet. I hope that you enjoyed making this with me today and that you will head over to the Made by Elle Facebook group in order to get your free copy of this pattern. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to my channel so you don't miss the upcoming content. I do have a few other tutorials planned that will feature free sewing patterns, so follow along for more. And if you haven't done so already, consider giving this video a like. Thank you so much for your support, and as always, happy stitching, everyone. Thanks, bye.